to the bread kitchen. If you've ever been to an Outback Steakhouse, you've probably enjoyed the bread there. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make that bread in your own kitchen. So I'm starting with 300 grams of warm water. I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of sugar, a tablespoon of instant coffee, and I'll just mix this to make sure it's all dissolved. Next, I'll add in 4 tablespoons of honey, and then 2 tablespoons of black treacle or molasses. Give all this a good mix, make sure everything's dissolved. And now I'll add in 2 teaspoons of dried yeast. Mix it in and leave it for 10 minutes for the yeast to get going. In this bowl I've got 300 grams of white bread flour and 250 grams of wholemeal bread flour. I'll add in 1.5 teaspoons of salt and a tablespoon of cocoa powder, and then mix all these dry ingredients together. Now make a well in the centre, add in your super foamy yeast mix together with 25 grams of melted butter and mix together. And it'll all come together into this soft, dark and somewhat sticky dough. Turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface and knead for about 10 minutes. If it starts to stick to the surface, just give it a light sprinkle of flour back on the surface. It's a lovely soft dough, this. So after 10 minutes kneading, you'll end up with this lovely dough, fairly springy. Pop the dough in a lightly greased bowl, cover and leave in a warm place for the dough to about double in size. My dough's risen very nicely, so I'll just turn it out onto this surface, knock it back to get all the gas out, and I'll just knead it gently for about a minute. Now the dough's still slightly sticky. You can do what you like with this. You can either make a single loaf or you can make rolls. I'm going to make 2 small loaves, so I'll just cut it in half to begin with. I just put a little bit of vegetable oil on my surface to help stop the dough sticking to it. Then take a piece of dough, stretch the edge out and bring into the middle, turn, stretch and bring into the middle, and go round the dough twice. Now turn the dough over, form it into a little log type shape. Then when you've shaped both pieces of dough, pop them onto a lightly floured baking tray. Then pop the tray in a large plastic bag. Then leave for about 45 minutes or so for the bread to rise. These are now ready for baking, so I'll just put a couple of slashes in the top with a sharp knife. Now these can go in the oven at 180 degrees C, fan oven, 200 normal oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. And after 25 or 30 minutes, the bread's cooked. Now leave it to cool. So let's have a little nosy at what this bread looks like inside, shall we? Well, it looks pretty good to me and smells gorgeous too. It's lovely and soft and light. It's got a real complexity of flavour about it as well. I love this bread. You might want to make yours a little darker if that's important to you, and I give some tips on my website thebreadkitchen.com on how to do that. I hope you enjoy making your Outback Steakhouse bread, and do join me next time in the bread kitchen.